All right, y'all, back with another video. Y'all, a lot has happened since the last video. Uh, and we're just gonna talk about it. All right, first we gonna start with this roast, the Kevin Hart roast. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix, and it was ridiculous. I took a few little notes, just so I can remember what I'm talking about. Uh, the opening up with Usher. Okay, that was funny. Haha, whatever. That was fine. Mini little concert. Then Tom Brady comes in with the racial jokes. And I get it, comedy, they use stuff, but to me, everything is not like, how can I put it? Certain things are off limits, I feel, to jokes. You know, I understand that people were coping, to make fun of the situation, to lighten it, but racial, race, like topics and stuff, not funny. Um, Especially talking about God should not be in a jokingly manner. Talking about people, loved ones that passed away, should not be a conversation, a topic. Uh, how people was murdered or whatever the case may be. People here committing suicide. Like they made fun at every pretty much stereotype you can possibly think of. And I thought it was like too much. It was overkill. And even Cat Williams, which I still feel like Cat Williams stood on everything he said. Like he that was pretty much how he felt already, you know. But I like how they buried the hatchet. But you can see Kevin kind of when he saw Cat. I don't want to say he was scared, but you can see in his face he was uncomfortable. He was really uncomfortable, and I guess they just put it to rest as they should. It's not nothing to go on and on. You feel how you feel, and you feel how you feel. It's a matter of opinion, you know. Um, but I just thought the roast was a bit much. It was. I mean, see when they talked about Cheryl Underwood, husband, and how he killed himself and how he jumped off the bridge, and everybody made fun of that, like it's something to. Even if you asked her earlier and she was like, yeah, 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 it still don't mean that that didn't affect her in a way. And even if it didn't affect her, that man still had a family. That y'all sitting there making a joke on how he took his life. It's like that's the world that we live in now. To where who cares if you're struggling with something? But as long as a comedian put it in a joke, it's acceptable, right? Until the shoe is on the other foot. When they people making jokes about you and what you dealing with, then it's not so funny. So that was insane. I don't know. I just saw it for they let them white people get them up there to play in our face on this damn thing to celebrate a black man. Because mind you, they was reading a prompter and it goes to show you what are y'all willing to do for a check. Certain stuff, hey, if you're willing to go ahead with it and you agree with it, but what kind of morals and characters and values do y'all stand on that for a check you're willing to put whatever you believe in to the side just for a check? Because a lot of that was like, oh no. And then I think one of the men was one of the men that was at a Trump rally, and we already know what that stands for and what they believe. And y'all let him come and do a roast of Kevin Hart, a black man, like make it make sense. Like what the I didn't like it. I ain't gonna need much hold you. I didn't like it. I didn't even like how The Rock was again, jokes, haha, right? But to literally say to that man wife, I'm gonna show you my private later. What? That was a bit much. And I get it's in jokingly things, but certain stuff shouldn't be You shouldn't cross that line. But hey, maybe it's just me. Everybody don't move like I move. You know, that's crazy. Because I can take a good joke. I can ha ha ha. But for somebody to make fun of certain things that traumatized me or things that affected my life, I don't think a laughing matters. And I'm not gonna let nobody play in my damn face thinking that it's okay to do that. I don't give a fuck if you're a comedian and who you are. So when Will Smith slapped the piss out of Chris Rock, I don't condone violence, but I can kind of give it a little head nod of approval when a motherfucker playing in your face. You know, whether we like Jada or not, that's still his wife. And for somebody to get on there and make a joke in front of the world about your wife, and he'd be less of a man if he wouldn't have said nothing or did nothing. You know, because if he wouldn't have said nothing, then people would have said, "Oh, you let him disrespect your wife and you didn't say nothing." But when he did this something, now they want to cancel him because he bat the piss out of Chris Rock. But if it was his mom up there with alopecia and somebody talking about his mom or his sister or his daughter, he would have been pissed. You see, the double standards, like what's good for one ain't good for everybody type shit. So that's why I feel like when it comes to people, things that they're dealing with physically or whatever, leave that out. Leave that out. But yeah, that was crazy though. But I don't know, I wanted to hear jokes. I didn't really laugh. I feel like everybody was saying the most raunchiest, filthiest things to just try to get a reaction. You know, I don't know. I just didn't care for it. They could have did that so much better. And Tiana Taylor coming out and she like bitch and I get it. That's how a lot of people move. For you to come on the stage and call a grown man a bitch in front of the world, I don't see that as, I don't know, maybe I'm different. I'm different because I don't move like that. You know, now, I'm not against calling a motherfucker a bitch if you take me there, but just out of whatever, I'm not walking around calling men bitches and calling whatever. It's you know, but again, I'm just giving my opinion on it. I do get that we human and we whatever, but I just feel like that was a bit much. And that roast supposed to be funny. It was supposed to be funny, and I promise you I didn't laugh. I was waiting for the laugh. Like I wasn't trying to stifle the laugh. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to enjoy it. But instead it left me like, what the hell? Like what? And Cheryl, which I liked it how she spoke about herself and said stuff, but somebody could have said it, which I like that she got on there and said, okay, if you'd have said anything that remotely sounded like wigger or whatever, you was getting your ass beat. So, but I liked it that, but again, I felt the damage already done. They didn't pretty much came up there and basically said it without saying it, all in the whatever of laughter and jokes to support Kevin Hart, and whatever. Like what? But anywho, that was crazy. That was crazy. I did not like it. They went in on Chelsea Handler. Like she must be the whore of the century. Cause that's all they kept saying. That she done slept with baseball teams and basketball teams and the whole industry. Um the other man that was on the side with the red Eddie Murphy suit, supposedly he have cancer. And they even made fun of that and him dying. I mean, it was just like what is this? Lizzo came out. Of course, they kind of went towards being fat and her eating everything. Um, a lot of the people I thought would have spoke didn't. The Rock coming on there pretty much threw me, right? We know The Rock to be The Rock. And for The Rock to come out and tell Kevin to suck on his titties, I was like, what? Then he said, you know, you be playing with these balls. And I mean, I was like, wait a minute. Then he said, come sit on my lap. Then he said he got a tattoo on his private and that he gonna show Kevin wife later. And then he like, it's fine. She seen it already. Like, it was just, I just have no words. I have no words. I have no words. But anywho, y'all check it out for yourself and, you know, give y'all whatever on it. If you thought it was okay, you thought it was like, I thought it was some bullshit. The best part to me was when, of course, when it went off, but the part where Cat Williams came out. Because I feel like Cat was the only one spoke his true feelings on literally how he felt. He's been very vocal about how he feel about Kevin Hart, and they went back and forth online and stuff. But I feel like everything he said, he meant it. He put a little joke in there, but he pretty much was saying how he already felt, and he got a check for it. But now, whether or not the apology and the squashing of beef was real, time will tell it. But in the moment, it seemed real. It seemed, authentic. But Kevin Hart looked it so uncomfortable when Cat Williams came out. He was so uncomfortable. You can see it all in his face. Um, yeah, that was kind of weird. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Regina Hall saying that, and I like Regina Hall. Lord knows I love her. But I didn't care for her speech about, his mama talking to her and they talking about heaven. Again, all right, people always say joke. Joke. Let me say this. Just because you say it's in a joke don't mean it hurts any lesser or don't mean that it's more acceptable because you say it's in a joke. Like, you can insult somebody and say, oh, I was just joking. They're supposed to be like, oh, thank you. Oh, because if you wasn't joking, that would have hurt. That's not how that shit works. You don't get to say, I'm joking when playing with certain things I deal with and struggle with in life. So to say that your mama is up here in heaven, fucking all the people in heaven, to me, that's a form of blasphemy, right? Because nothing concerning God in the Bible should be at nobody's expense of joking. And it says to me that, and again, I don't know people's relationship with God. I don't know. Just my opinion, disclaimer. I don't know. I'm only going by what I see. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I feel that when you truly know God, I mean, truly know him, you understand that he is the Alpha and the Omega. You understand that he is the part of the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. When you believe all of that he died and rose and everything, right? You wouldn't want to play with him or anything surrounding him, if that makes sense, because you respect him more than that. You have respect, that's holy right there, and to play with him would suggest that you don't know him. And if you do know him, you really ain't as locked in to play in his face. So to sit there and say your mama called from heaven and she say up there she effing and sleeping with certain people, and even to say she up there sleeping with Michael Clark Duncan, I thought was a disrespect to his family. People who love that man and that man's family, for y'all to use his name in a jokingly way, I didn't think that was funny. And it just makes me look at that when you truly know God, certain stuff you're not going, I don't care if they put it in a contract, right? And say, okay, we need you to say this. If it goes against what you believe in and the word of God, and God is not pleased with that type of movement, you're not going to do it. But how many people say, who, how much? I'll do it. I do it. It's like selling your soul, right? Like, what am I willing to do for $1? You know, my morals and values don't come into play, you know, when money is involved. And that's just what it is. Because when you truly follow Christ, ain't nowhere in the world you about to get up there and play with somebody, loved ones who died, right? Even if I ask somebody, oh, can I talk about your dead, whatever that died, your mama, your dad, or whoever it is? I'm just gonna put it in a little joke. Even if I agree with you and say, yeah, you can do it, you as a person, if you're a follower of Christ and if you're a person of morals and values and all those things, you was first of all, you would never even ask him that. Secondly, if you find yourself asked, and we have moments, you're gonna then sit down and say, you know what? Nah, I'm not gonna do that. That ain't cool. And the fact that nobody did that is insane. It's insane. Man, this oh y'all. I don't know, but I just know that was crazy. That was the craziest little roast that I've seen in a while. You know, a lot of them go too far. But if you truly don't really care and you're not that deep in your religion and Christ and just whatever, then that would be acceptable to you. Then, and you may be, put it like this, you can be a good person and still not follow Christ. Let me say that. There are good people out there that just don't believe, and that's their free will to do so. But because I am a follower of Christ, I try to, now in my life, I haven't always, but now I try to go by the word, right? I go by like what he say, what does the word say about me acting this way, me feeling this way, me whatever. I always try to revert back. Is it easy? No. I almost cuss. No, absolutely not. It is far from easy. You gotta swallow your pride a lot. You have to sometimes get your feelings hurt. Sometimes you just gotta take it. And when you read your word, God tells you that do what I ask you to do, right? He don't want to hit a butts and they did this and he don't care about that. And what he's saying to you is that the people that he asked you to be whatever, be obedient. He's telling you, I'll deal with the other person. Let me deal with them. That don't have nothing to do with you. I'ma deal with them. But we kind of feel like, can I help? You know, like we don't want God to fight our battle. We want to fight our battle and we want God to get them after we do what we do. So it is not easy to follow God, you know. But watching that roast was such a, I don't know, I was kind of like, man, wow, this is what comedy has come to. And don't get me wrong, comedy has always been making fun of others, right? And their situation. I get it. But just because it has become this traditional thing does not mean it's right. You know, just because you put is comedy behind it, we should just accept it. No, because everybody don't want to play. It's like them shows where you go to a comedy show and you sit in the front and they use you as their muse, as they, it's like crowd work because they got your boy who do that. And he just rib and talk about people in the audience. Sometimes everybody might be down for that, but sometimes everybody don't want to be your muse and your subject matter to make fun of while everybody else laugh. No, that's not what it is. And I think with saying that to myself, there has been times where I guess we do it. I do it myself. Like I'm laughing at the things people do, but I now see that can make people feel a certain way. Um, just laughing, regardless if it's not of them things that's associated to them. So I have realized that even in the moment, to learn not to do that. So I do apologize for doing that to whoever I've done it to, and the person I done it to know who I'm talking to. Um, but you see it. Sometimes in the moment you don't realize, right? You don't realize, but everybody is not built the same. We all move differently. See me, I'm a person of I got kind of tough skin with a lot of stuff. So therefore a lot of stuff does not bother me, but other people not so much. So it's that type of whatever of just because it's funny to you may not be funny to other people. So yeah, but y'all, that roast was an epic fail. Uh, Everybody talking about it. Everybody is giving the and to even the George Floyd comment was like, what in the? It's like that's what we doing. Is it more about insulting culture, insulting black people, or are we celebrating Kevin? Like, which one are we doing? Racial remarks. They talked about, I think, Jews and black people and racism and slaves and I mean, and it just went on and on and on. And I'm like, type of what type of damn show is this? It was crazy. But yeah, y'all. But that's my little rant on it, y'all. But just watching it made me like look at myself in a sense of as I'm watching it, I'm seeing how we're in 2026 and they allowed that nonsense to be put on national television for the world to see and pretty much act like nothing was wrong with it. So when I look at that, it makes you kind of look at each individual person. And when you look at each individual person, you look at that. I don't know their background. I don't know their religion. I don't know what they believe in. But it makes you question because if you are a follower of Christ, through your actions and the way you move should always resemble Christ-like. You know, by my works and how I move and how I treat people. So whether you're a comedian or a singer or a politician, when you get on a stage to pretty much honor somebody else and you use their traumas and debt and certain stuff like that I feel like you shouldn't cross the line, it makes me question, are you a follower of Christ? You know, because if you was, you would have been convicted and you wouldn't even want to do that. I don't care how much money they throw at you. So people are most definitely in a battle. They're in a battle of survival, trying to take care of their family, and they're in a battle of trying to spiritual battle of if they is following Christ to do the right thing and not give in to the worldly things. So we all are dealing with that, fighting the spiritual side and trying to survive in this world. And you're in survival mode. So yeah, but that's my little rant with that wannabe roast. Cause that just wasn't it. That wasn't it. So I'm gonna leave y'all with I'm gonna pull from my daily bread, y'all. See, I have a daily bread box and it has a lot of scriptures in it. And I always wanna I'm gonna start just reading some and giving a word for somebody who may need it. Because I need it all. I need every last one of these and then some more. So here we go. Let's pick one. All right. This one said, Christ shall give thee light. Okay. I don't particularly know. I know what it means in the sense of God is the light, right? But we're going to break it down because I want to know what they meant by it. So let's kind of look it up. 1 second. And that's, come on. That's Ephesians. All right, Ephesians 5:14. Okay, let's see. It says, "This is why it is said, wake up, sleeper." Is that it? Wait, I might be on the wrong thing. Yeah, Ephesians 5:14. Now this one said, "Christ shall give thee light." So let's see what they say when I looked it up. It say Ephesians 5:14 states, "This is why it is said, wake up, sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you." The verse serves as a call for Christians to shake off spiritual complacency. Okay, repent from darkness and live in the light of Christ. Okay, it's basically like a call to awakening. For believers who may be slumbering or in a state of spiritual stagnation. Did I pronounce that right? Urging them to live fully aware in their faith. Like wake up. And I wish the people that was on the panel would have woke up and know that that wasn't cool to talk about a man taking his life. That's not cool to talk about uh, George Floyd or even Charlie Kirk or even anybody that lost their life. It's not cool to talk about cancer and people who are dying. It's not cool to talk about people's wives and disrespect them. Um, it's not cool to make fun of race, slavery, and all that type of stuff, and anything else they talked about. Just because you put comedy in front of it does not make it right. If you're a comedian, you should be able to find laughter in anything else other than people's traumas. So I wish they had looked at that and true Christ and how they move. Some type of conviction should have hit them to where they said, you know what? I can't do that. I don't feel right about doing that. And I wish that would have happened. But anywho, all right, y'all, I'm out. I took me some of my little gummies and I can barely see my eyes on this camera. But yes, so remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, keep God first. And each and everything you do as you move through life, every decision you make, everything you do, everything, take him with you, talk to him, read your word. And as always, forever kind. And I'm out. I'll see y'all when I see you. Peace.